Hello, welcome back. It's Buddha in the Crucible here in Las Vegas. Another beautiful day. Today's election day, or I'm sorry, voting day. So, if you hopefully you got a chance to do that, or if it's what you wanted to do. I don't. I'm not like crazy about the whole like shaming people into voting thing, but I mean like I voted, but it's up to you. If you feel like your vote counts, then you will vote. If you feel how you feel, you didn't vote, or whatever happened so that you didn't vote. Anyway, today I am going to tell you some stories of, well, I guess, basically like maybe it's viewed as less than great things that I've done, related to befriending or preferring to have a relationship with married men. And again, like I can tell these stories because they're very old, and it doesn't, well, whatever effects that I've either already felt, or it's just like old business basically. And these people have moved on, and I've moved on, and whatever. So, anyway, when I was younger, like in my younger 20s, I used to prefer dating married men. They would always have some story to make them, I guess, maybe for themselves more than me, that they were separated, or they were planning to get divorced, or like whatever the story was. I didn't really care, because I quickly noticed that like I just wanted to have fun, and it seemed like people who were already in a responsible adult relationship, i.e. marriage, or the idea of it, these were people who already had somebody that they, did bills and kids, and right, being responsible, and like kind of all the cons to the relationship, that would all be with their spouse. And to me, it just seemed like the person that was married to them was the one who got the short end of the stick, because when I would hang out with these guys, and it wasn't even always sexual, we were just either like friends, or they wanted a companion. Some of them just wanted an escape. Like, I can't tell you how many guys came over, and it wasn't necessarily about having sex. They just needed to be able to get away from their situation. And I'm not saying like, oh, he had to get away from you and that's why it was horrible. I'm saying like, right, like whatever about their home life was stressing them out, they would want to come over to my place just to like not. I'm not saying it was right for them to put a pause button on their lives, but that's what they were doing basically. So it wasn't even always sexual, but for the wife, I don't think it really matters. It's just the fact that their husband is, having a good time, and spending what is probably ultimately quality time with somebody else. And it kind of like stares you in the face that you've had this committed thing with this person, and like you guys are rooted in so many, like your finances and your name and the house and the car and the kids and the dog. You have invested mutually, if not more so, with someone. So it's not like you're quick to throw it away because, cheaper to keep her or whatever. So right, these guys would feel locked in their situation, and their spouse wasn't trying to leave either. Again, that's me personally. If I find out somebody is not wanting to be with me, I'm not going to try to think of ways to make them be with me anyway. That's just me. If I found out if I was married to someone and they were cheating, granted, I've never been in this position, but, and I understand, like, when it's much different when you are rooted in with somebody financially, your home, your kids, like, it's not as easy as somebody who has no responsibilities like that, or mutual responsibilities. I don't have anything like that, so it's easy for me to say, oh, I would just walk away. F it, I don't want to be with somebody who doesn't want to be with me. I'm not saying skip the counseling phase or whatever, but right, like, even when it seems like a situation, it's clear a situation that this person, like whoever, hold on, I gotta look at this. Okay, sorry, I had to read that. Anyway, the person who's cheating, they kind of have the choice, but it's about like for the people getting cheated on, I can understand, I mean, it doesn't always make sense to me, but some people hold on because they really want to believe this person's gonna come around, and my thing is like, I don't know. Maybe I feel like right. I don't have any pants on. I have underwears on, but I have underwear on, but I didn't put on pants yet. So anyway, right. I know it's easier said than done probably when you've been in a serious, or you feel like you've been in a serious relationship with someone. But right. Anyway, I'm gonna get to my story. So I mean, I wouldn't go out, and I didn't have to go out and stalk for married men. It's not like I had to filter it, especially when I was in the military. I mean, married men came to you. They were looking for easy kills, they were looking for escapes. They didn't want to dissolve their home situation. That's having your cake and eat it too. So that's not such a foreign concept. So it's not like it was hard to meet married men that just wanted to have, a casual friends with benefits situation. And for me, that was okay. Like, that's what I wanted. It wasn't about like, I wasn't worried about if this man would respect me. Like, I didn't respect him to begin with. Well, you're cheating on your wife. Like, I'm not worried about what you think about me. I'm not worried about being regarded as the side chick or whatever like that. And I know that probably sounds ridiculous, but I'm talking about my mindset at the time, to justify it. I didn't care about like those sort of labels because I was a solo rider, take no prisoners. And like I said, half the time it wasn't even necessarily a sexual relationship. These were guys that like I used to like to play video games. So I had a PlayStation and everything at the time. I'm not trying to sound old, but right, like I had a few video games and whatnot. So they would come over and play video games. I actually like to cook, so I would cook something or we'd go to dinner. Like, my point is like it was always fun. We didn't have any responsibilities to argue about. We didn't have any kids to argue about. We because we understood each other's situation. Well, I didn't have a situation, but they did, and part of me dealing with them was me being I had to respect their situation, i.e., not trying to make myself relevant in their home life or be a home wrecker. So I guess and again, I'm not saying this is right, I'm not saying you're recommending it, I'm just confessing to you all, part of probably why, I'm going to tell you later what happened to me, and that cause and effect is very strict. Karma is so strict, and no matter how you justify it at the time, a cause is a cause is a cause is a cause. And it doesn't matter how many old ladies I help walk across the street or babies I kiss, whatever bad deeds I've committed that are on my soul's transcript. You can expiate negative karma, but like, good deeds don't cancel out bad deeds. So you make good fortune for the good deeds that you've done, and you have whatever bad consequences as a result of whatever negative things that you've done. Now, again, like, even what can be kind of like, I don't know, daunting, is that like, right, like, even without you will pay for karma that, like, regardless of intention. That's what I'm trying to say. Like, so when I was talking about karma with somebody recently, his reaction was like, well, first I let him go. Like, I let him talk to me about whatever was on his mind, and then he asked me what I thought about it. And I said, but he started out with like, all these bad things happened to me, and I didn't do anything to anybody. I didn't hurt anybody. I don't try to hurt anybody, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, dude, didn't you, like, you used to be a SEAL. Like, you don't know who you hurt. You don't know who you hurt. You may have inadvertently hurt somebody. You know, again, it's not about intention. It's not about if you woke up and said, yeah, I'm going to hurt these people, which I mean, obviously that's a negative cause too. But, you know, we pay for the whatever causes we make. If you create a cause that causes suffering, it's a negative cause. So it's up to you. I mean, how you want to process that. Maybe you don't agree, or your Buddhism teaches, you know, you took this from it or whatever. You know, it's fine. But in the meantime, right, like when I was younger, in my young 20s, it was, for me, it was more than okay to deal with married guys, because I didn't, right, like, again, intention. I wasn't trying to disrespect this person's wife, but it didn't bother me that this person was married. I felt like, you know, your marriage is not my responsibility. It's not my job to mind you. It's not my job to make sure you stay faithful. It's your marriage. I didn't go out and get married. You know, again, I'm not justifying it. I'm saying what justified it for me at that time. You know, don't come for me. So, and this is all so old. Like, I wouldn't be telling you this if it happened last week, or it was still a habit of mine, you know, like a lifestyle of mine. So anyway, right, dating a bunch of married guys, take no prisoners, of course, like, you know, and that's just guys. I think that, and maybe it's not gender specific, but I noticed that, you know, these guys would come giving a bunch of disclaimers about, like, don't get attached, please don't, you know, don't be like don't get mad that you can't come to my house and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, yeah, cool, like, whatever. Are we gonna play GTA, you know, or whatever? We're gonna fool around, or, you know, go to a restaurant. What are we doing? And they'd be like, okay, like, don't get crazy on me, you know, don't fall in love with me. And I'm thinking, dude, you're a cheater. Like, you're her problem as far as I'm concerned. Like, we're just having, I feel like this is really the way to get the best out of you, because the people who care about you, you treat like trash. Look, you're cheating, you know, your kids are home, you're out in the street. Like, not my responsibility. At the time, I felt like it's not my job to make you be a good person. If you're saying you're available to hang out and kick it, you know, I'm not going to run through a list of your home responsibilities, you know, to make sure it's like you got permission to come out and play. You're grown. You went out and got married. You went out and had those kids. So, right, if you good to hang out, let's hang out. I don't have any kids and I'm not married, you know, I'm good. So anyway, and no shade if you are, I'm just saying, like, for these people's circumstances, I didn't feel like I needed to be the one to police that for them, because it was more convenient for me. I knew they couldn't, and the best part is, like, for me, I liked it because I knew you couldn't get crazy. And when I was done with you, which you didn't know, but was more likely to happen first, when I was done, I didn't have to worry about you trying to act crazy or bitter, because you couldn't afford to lose that. It's perfect. It was a perfect balance, you know, the perfect arrangement for me, because you couldn't come for me when I was done with you. You couldn't get mad at me for using you, which, look, okay, I didn't use guys for money, like, oh yeah, you gotta pay my bill or whatever. It was more like, as far as the fun, you know, when we went out, they took care of everything, or just, you know, coming over to kick it, the quality time. Like, we would, there's so many married guys that I would hang out with, and we would just be talking. It wasn't sexual. We would just literally be hanging out. But that's like emotional cheating, I guess, you know, to some people, or whatever label it probably has now. So anyway, so right, like, I feel like I'm not responsible for that. If you're okay to hang out, fine. And that's how it went for a few years. And every now and then, because this is before smartphones, that's how long ago this was, showing my age. Anyway, right, like, it wasn't a problem, you know, and I didn't feel ashamed, because it was what I wanted, based on, like I said, these guys were great. They were fun. We didn't argue. And when we were done, neither one of us could pull the BS card. And I wasn't the type to try to like get crazy and put you on blast to your wife. I didn't care. Oh, hold on. Oh, sorry. I need new I need to get my eyes checked so bad. I'm just leaning in. Anyway, so right, like I was okay with it because what did I care? Like I didn't honestly, right, like I must not have had respect for those men. And no matter how I justified it, unfortunately, I did not have respect for these people's marriage. You know, while I stand by the point that it's not my job to police anybody's marriage, it was up to me at that point to send them home or you know, tell them, okay, yeah, we can hang out, but I need a, what I say to guys now is I need a signed permission slip from your wife. If your wife sends you with a piece of paper or some kind, or a little video snap or something saying, yeah, you can I don't care. Like, if they're cool with it, or they, you know, which more than likely, right, is not going to happen. Let's be real. Whether they claim to feel confident about their relationship or not, no woman is going to sign over permission slip with her man, you know, to some, like, you know, tart. So no matter how educated that tart may sound. So anyway, so I didn't get any thrill out of like putting the guys on blast to their wife or something like that. I really wasn't into that because, like I said, once I got bored, I'll let you go anyway. And most of the time, I ended up giving them their pink slip first. You know, they either, and you know, there were the times that, and like I said, it wasn't always sexual. So sometimes where they would just kind of fade to black, it just meant we weren't hanging out anymore. It wasn't a big deal to me, but I don't know. And but then I ended up falling in love. Like I've been in love one time that I will like fully wholeheartedly acknowledge. It was one person I was horribly in love with. I say horribly because I don't know what's wrong with me other than karma, but being in love with this person brought out the craziest woman in me I've ever seen. Insecure, crazy, flingy stuff that it's like I look on it now, like the memories of it, and I'm like, who is that girl? Granted, that's kind of what helped me be more, you know, stronger towards the relationship game and kind of rethink some things and whatever. But right, I felt really hard for a guy. And right, I got part of my karmic dose, you know, sexy. Excuse me, I got part of my karmic dose because I was in love with somebody, madly, desperately, like, do anything for this person, in love. I had it so bad for this person. And although they had love for me, they eventually were, like, I think they tried to be in love with me, but it didn't end up working out, you know, because I was just, and then it was making me crazy too. Like being in love with him was just making me crazy because he was kind of like already a distant person, and like when we were together, it was like nothing else mattered, but he would just end up drifting away so many times, and this was before smartphones, so and we were both in the military, so I really went crazy with that one, and I guess, like, all in a nutshell, like maybe I just couldn't handle it. I couldn't handle being in love. We were both young, so there's three sides to every story: his side, her side, and the truth. So there were things he did, there were things I did that were just so over the top that I can understand. Basically, I say all that to say without like totally. Hold on, I gotta look at this. Sorry. I got totally, I lost my train of thought looking at that. Sexy. I got totally lost in and becoming insecure and crazy, trying to get this person to be as deeply, or what I felt would demonstrate him being as deeply in love with me as I was with him. So I eventually, like, my crazy kind of like burned us both out, and then his I don't even know what you call it, like, he'll never admit it, but he just wasn't that he just wasn't that into me, like, compared to how I was. I was so desperately in love with him, and he was still, picking orders that were across the world from where I was stationed, and I kind of was like, well, why would you pick getting stationed like across the whatever? And then you're like, basically, this was one of those situations where I knew if I stopped being proactive about keeping the label of our relationship relevant, if I didn't like fight tooth and nail to keep that relevant, he would just drift away, fade away. Like, for him, he just kind of waiting for it to fade away. He will never admit this to me because he doesn't want to hurt me or whatever. Like, that's what I mean by saying, like, he had love for me, but, eventually he could not work being in love with me. And again, like, there were things he did, there were things I did, but, right, like, I take responsibility for my side of it. Well, and, again, if you really hate women who like deal with married men, like, maybe you're somebody who feels like it is, the other woman's responsibility to send their husband home or whatever. And we all have different schools of thought on that. My thing is, like, like, some women are so hyped to protect their cheating man and say, oh yeah, you girls, like, I know how you do, you stay away, don't tempt him and this and that. But it's like, well, if he can be tempted, then he's not really yours. Like, I'm not saying, like I said, I didn't have to go out and tempt anybody. I didn't have to be a temptress. I just had to exist. These guys, so I don't know if they're in denial about the fact that their guy is pursuant of, and I'm not saying it never happened that a girl was going after, like aggressively going after somebody's man. I'm saying that I didn't have to look at it and go, I didn't have to go hunting. Married guys pretty much can fall right in your lap, regardless of what your type is, because they looking for somebody that, I don't know. So anyway, right, I truly got my karmic dose because the only person I've ever been in love with, the only one, is not in love with me. And if it makes you feel even more better, after he finally, moved on from me altogether, the best part is he moved on from me by disappearing. One day, I went to call his phone, and it went to voicemail. Now, apparently, he got sent, he was still in the military, and apparently he got sent on some kind of mission, and it was before smartphones and everything else like that. And he just decided not to tell me, and he just disappeared. Gone. And again, this is before smartphones, so it's not like I can just see if he's checking into Facebook, or, like, it's not like that. I can send him an email, but he may not read it. And plus, all his emails are vetted, so they're going to get screened. It'll be a delay before he gets them, at least at the time. That's how it was. So, right, like, I was super salty because I just suddenly couldn't get a hold of him. Like, we had already been through some things by then, but, like, he didn't even have the courage to have, like, some kind of serious heart-to-heart. He always lacked courage, unfortunately. Like, he was, in that way, he was just, he had cowardice to work out. And anyway, when so we kind of, like, he ended up going through something, and he was trying to find me again. But by then, I didn't want anything to do with him. I could not be supportive of whatever he was going through because I felt like, you're the one who said F you and freaking disappeared. Now you're broken and you want to be in my face and go down memory lane when I didn't even know where you were for a year. F you. Like, seriously, I don't even care. F you. Even though I was still so in love with him, I was so hurt. And, right, I did end up pushing him away because, I felt like, you need to work your ass off now. Sexy. And right, like, admittedly, I made it very lopsided, he was going through some stuff. I didn't factor any of that in. I didn't stop to have compassion for whatever was catching up to him in life. I didn't care. All I knew was he had hurt me, and you know, you disappeared, and you know, like you just do whatever you want, and I'm in the dark, and so I don't care. And I just devoted my life to being a total C word to him every time he tried to talk to me, because he would try to check on me, and I just want to know you're okay, and you know, really, he would try to be nice in that way. You know, just because somebody is terrible in a relationship with you doesn't mean that they don't care about you. So, you know, at the time, I'm just interpreting it that, you know, you just, what are you, like a sociopath? Oh, you're a Scorpio, right? Well, it doesn't matter, but, anyway, I had it so bad for him, and it just didn't work out. Well, when, you know, after enough, like, being rude to him and just, like, holding how he treated me over his head all the time, and I'm not making excuses, I'm just saying these were things I did that were not very mature. So right, like I could not throw it in his face. I couldn't let go, kind of like the bumpiness that we had gone, and him disappearing for a year. I couldn't let it go, couldn't let it go, because I felt like I'm making all these efforts, and I've been making all these efforts since we've been together, being this clingy, like thirsty, desperately in love. Like where I want to acknowledge something that I wanted to change, that I did change. I'm sorry, guys. Sexy. I felt like, because I was madly in love, you know, that he, you know, and since he had accepted whatever efforts of kindness that I had extended based on that love, I felt that he owed me something. He owed me a relationship. He owed me love. He owed me, I don't know, marriage. He owed me, you know, and we're not even talking about monetary stuff, but he owed me, you know, this quality time that was like really all I wanted with him. I was just craving I just wanted to be with him. Oh my God. I like, fortunately I'm cured. I have never felt this way about a person ever again, and I don't try to, because like I said, if love is going to bring out my most craziest, insecure, jealous version of me, then obviously I need to, you know, take some classes, you know, chant, and get that sorted out, because I don't want to be, I've seen so many like crazy, insecure, clingy women, with my other guy friends that you know, right, like we're just cool, you know, and it's so sad to watch them, you know, cling to like either an imaginary relationship or imaginary courtship, or you know, again, like these are, because I know so many guys that have taken things from women, like, you know, these women go above and beyond to take care of them, you know, haircuts, shoes, clothes, you know, you name it. That's why it cracks me up when I see guys online complaining, oh, well, you know, how come women can't take care of men for a change? I'm thinking, I only know women who are like dumping their check into their man, and like, I shouldn't say I only know, but I'm saying like I see too many women like making a fool of them. I'm not saying buying stuff for men makes you a fool, but like these women were investing financially and emotionally into a man that didn't want to be with them, you know, or didn't value them, regardless, or yeah, like he's with you because he's still going to do whatever he wants, and he knows you're not going to go anywhere because you have it so bad for him, you know. So that was kind of, it was so sad to watch that like over and over again. Like my friends would be doing these girls so dirty, and they didn't, it just didn't seem to matter. Like, I'm not saying they were like, oh, that's okay, baby, I forgive you, but they would act crazy for a little bit and then not leave. Like they would still keep coming around, like on some really like spiteful, vindictive stuff. And to me, it's like, if you see that this person doesn't respect you or doesn't make the efforts you're making to be around you, why do you still want them? But then I found out the hard way, because I had it so bad for this dude. Like, you know, heart, you know, and like I said, I never, whatever he triggered in me for love must have burned out. It lived and died with him, because I never just allowed myself to feel like that about anyone ever again, and it's been many years since that happened. We're still friendly, but I, you know, like I said, you know, the causes I made, I had to face the hard truth that he had moved on. You know, like I said, he still has love for me, but and not to put like this person's business out, but for example, he has 3 kids with 3 different women since I've known him. And no shade, like, you know, uh, right, like, how do you backpedal from that? Like, I'm okay. I'm shaking my head more like, damn, like how much I played myself. Like here, like he when he moved on, he moved on. He moved on Johnny Appleseed style. He just, you know, so wild out across the land. And I won't lie, like even after all these years, that stung me a little bit too. It's like, wow, I couldn't be in love or marry or have kids with anybody else. And I mean, I can't assume who he loved or didn't love, but I mean, for me, it wasn't so simple. Like to already have 3 kids and you know you still drifting. Like they apparently like his baby moms hate. You know they can't stand him. He can't. Right now, you know he's trying to sort out things to take care of the situation. And you know this is somebody he's been up on top and down in the gutter and fought his way out of it. Like there is, like I said, I was madly in love with him. You know he could do no wrong, but then he would do wrong and it would make me so crazy, or I would decide, you know. So when I found out he had like not 1, 2, but 3 kids with different people and stuff like that, you know, I won't lie, like I made it about me, Leo, and you know, but I eventually was able to communicate to him to say, wow, you know, I have to admit I feel kind of silly because I guess maybe subconsciously I just, you know, I never ended up having kids. I never ended up doing any like how you're doing, and um, it kind of like just reiterates how much you never felt the way I did. And I know like it's kind of low key like so lame. Like if you guys are over it and you're not together, then why bring up this old stuff? But he likes to go down memory lane a lot of times too, and I'm just like, and I will tell him like, I don't want to go down memory lane. Like why do we have to do this? Because it hurts me. It hurts me to go over these memories like they're funny or something when you moved on. You know, you moved on so hard. Like you got kids and like you still just doing whatever you want, and you got a slew a toe of women in your wake that you have ties with at least 3 different women for the rest of your life, you know. And I know he's not the first one to have this situation. I'm not saying there's not life after, you know, spraying yourself like a sprinkler all over, you know, anybody whose ovaries were exposed, you know. And you know, I don't even, that's how I know, you know, I really love this person, because you know, I didn't want to think about that, like whatever honeymoon phases he must have had with them to end up having 1, 2, 3 kids like with different people. And you know, it didn't, but I had to, I made my bed, lay in it. Like I had pushed him away years ago. We didn't work out. There was stuff on both sides, but neither one of us, the point is, neither one of us made the commitment to say, you know what, I'm going to stick it out and, you know, F it. We had both done things to destroy the relationship on both sides. And, but I guess to me, like, I had always kind of like held out, I guess, maybe kind of. And maybe that's why it stung to know he had all these kids and baby mama drama and just all this stuff that he's doing. And it's like, wow, you chose all that over a life for us together. Like I must be really, really crazy. I must have been really a B, like a total C word. And that's why, like I said, like I'm not totally blaming myself, because he was shitey too, but right, like my crazy was pretty bad. So you know, and then he went through things over the years that I chose not to be there for him for, because I was so mad about about how we had handled the relationship. So I was kind of like, F your problems, you know. What problems? You don't have any problems because you hurt me. Like, all right, that's really good Leo math for you. So anyway, so I really cared about him, but I was doing my own thing, and he clearly was doing his own thing. But I always thought, like, we would be on some Frida Kahlo and her man. Who's her man? Pablo or Jose or what? I'm not trying to sound stupid. I just really can't remember his name. But I thought it was gonna be kind of like that, where we were out having our fun. Okay, maybe you racked up a couple kids. I didn't, but never mind. You didn't care apparently. I cared apparently. So, right, like, I always thought we would come full circle. I totally took it for granted that we were going to come full circle. And while we are still on good terms, we're friendly, he more or less made it clear that he just not that into me, like, not ever since then. And that, it's just never going to be whatever our heyday was. I don't know how to articulate. I guess I shouldn't really try to speak with it for him, but once again, we're right back to that whole kind of like, you can reach out to me all day and I'm not gonna, like, my way of reciprocating is by just entertaining that sometimes, but like whenever I've brought up the idea of, because we've had I said, well, I mean, have we come full circle? Is a relationship something that you do you at least, is that even on the table, around the possibilities? Like, what is this? Because he was still kind of calling and checking on me and stuff like that, and telling me, just different things of affection and whatever. And I was kind of like, that was making me more mad, because I'm like, what do you mean the L word? Like, if it's all that, then how come we're not together? How come you're not making any efforts for us to be together? Why are you out here spraying your seed all over everything to grow more babies than a damn cabbage patch? Like, why? How can I I was like really already trying to make it about like so many, I wanted to get to the facts when he's still going through a lot of things. And again, I'm not making excuses. I'm saying, right, like, karma is real. That the one person that I wanted to be with and picture, a couple's life with, the one person that it like really came from my heart, he didn't value what that meant to me. Like, that meant more to me than he could let it mean for him. It didn't mean to him what it meant to me. So that really sucked, and it hurt, and I cried and a lot, and acted out, and rebound sex and dating different people and all kinds of stuff. But again, like, it was easy for me to navigate through people, because I didn't love anyone else. I couldn't love anyone else. I didn't want to love anyone else. So anyway, if it makes you happy, if you're somebody who's been cheated on, or you hate, the people that your husband cheats with or whatever, just know, right, comeuppance is real. I'm getting mine just like everybody gets theirs. It's, I didn't like miss the comeuppance, because the one person that I had fallen in love with ended up not being able to love me. So right, and I got to watch him go on and live his life and just have a bunch of kids with different people, and still kind of just do whatever he wants, and still leave it very vague, and just a lot of different things that it's like, pretty much I have to choose now at this point. Like, you still gonna be hopeless Hagatha towards this person, or you're gonna get a grip. And that's not about like hurrying up and going out and find somebody else. It's just about like seeing this person in the present moment. Like, if I do really care about you as a person, then You know, I just tried to be there for him in the way that matters. You know, it's not like he never did right by me, or, you know, like I said, it's not that I don't think he loves me, but um, we probably both have done enough damage that we're not ever going to be together, and that's kind of sad. Because I like the time that we were together, that was the only time that I had like one of the only few times that I had like such an ongoing romantic rapport with. But maybe that was all in my head, and he was just kind of entertaining it, because like I said, I was doing a lot um, without him asking me, towards our survival, because I was treating it like our survival. But he was just kind of, you know, in it for whatever was going to be offered. And you know, I felt so. Just know, right? Like I didn't win. Right? Like ironically, I didn't want anybody's married man like for myself. Like I said, the whole point was that it was more convenient. And no drama as well. There could be drama, but there was no drama between us. Like it was always just about having a good time. And then later on, you know, I ended up madly in love with somebody who couldn't love me back because I was too crazy, and went out and had a bunch of kids, and still kind of doesn't, you know, still just kind of waving in the breeze, you know, by choice. So, okay, so that's one thing. Another way that I got some serious comeuppance, and this is somebody that I didn't have like necessarily like a romantic relationship with, but this was somebody that, oh, and here's the best part, like, this is somebody that, he was older, like in his 50s, but he looked so young, like scary soldier sold to the devil to look that young, like nice body, like could have been a model, like underwear model, like Calvin Klein. I'm not even hyping it up. I'm not even exaggerating. So he looked really good. He was in his 50s, and you know, he was retired more or less, but it slowly came to light that he kind of had a life as a sugar baby. Like he had jobs and stuff, but he was used to women, you know, carrying him for his time. And I wasn't anything like this at this point. I was like really take no prisoners, like kind of a bad girl. And we just kind of hit it off. We were friends, you know. We just like to hang out. Like we would hang out for hours. You know, we'd hang out overnight when I had whenever I had my own place, because I had lily padded to so many different places, but for a time, like I gotten my own place again, and he would come over and we would cook and talk trash. We didn't even have the TV on because he didn't even like watching TV. You know, he had a really short attention span. He was a tinkerer, and you know, there were other things, but I kind of like don't even want to bring that into the video. So we just liked having a good time. You know, I was his Gidget, his little wing girl, like his Batgirl to Batman, like just this. We knew one of us were young, but we were, you know, I was younger than him by a good 20 years, or like 20 plus years. But he was, you know, hip, like he was into modern technology. He could keep up. So he liked a younger crowd of people. You know, he was always hanging out with boys and girls. And then I kind of quickly found out that he was like kind of sexually ambiguous. He just like you could be a girl or a boy, or I should say a girl or a guy. You know, if you liked doing that and you were like in his face to do it, he wasn't so you being a guy it didn't have to matter. But he went from everything to like sometimes just an inanimate object. Like he could rub it on himself, and that would be like, he was really into like masturbating. Like he didn't really like, because again, he's like kind of like this really selfish person, so he don't even like to give in sex. You know, it's all about like receiving for him, but he doesn't want you to know that. So even like this is somebody that he was like getting all these different older women to either shower him with gifts or, you know, pay for him to spend time with him and stuff like that, even up in his 50s, y'all. So, right, doing it. Sugar baby, like he should teach a class. If you're a man and you want to be a sugar baby and take advantage of a bunch of older ladies, I really like, I wish he was teaching a class because he knew how to do this. So right, he always has some crazy adventure. Well, anyway, he claimed he was in a business marriage to somebody who was 10 years older than him. I'm gonna say girl, but who, you know, you all. So right, like he he was married to this woman. You know, he claimed like she had trapped him into the marriage because she really needed, he had better health insurance than her or some excuse, and excuse me, she told him it's all companionship, and you know, they were like really tight friends, I guess, over the last 30 years. Like they have been friends because, like I said, he's in his 50s, she's in her 60s. So he actually had me over for dinner. He told me, yeah, it's an open marriage because it's just a business marriage, we're just companions, and she has a boyfriend. So I'm like, okay, again, well, we were just there on some friendly stuff. So I, you know, then when he told me he was introducing me to his, you know, legal wife, I was like, okay. So we go over there. She's polite and everything, and we have dinner, and she's all smiling in my face. And then later on goes on to tell my friend, oh, you know what? No, don't hang out with her because she's a witch. Yes, y'all. She's a witch. I can tell. You know, look at her. She knows magic and just like a lot of crazy stuff. We're gonna have a creeper series, like all the creepy moments from my clairvoyant adventures. But that's what made it weird, is that I hadn't told her anything related to any kind of like extra third eye stuff I have had go on, and she was like honing in on that stuff. But she was claiming that I was, you know, some evil witch or whatever like that. And I was like, well, lady, like I'm a Constantine, but I couldn't even, I'm not your witch. So she's like, I mean, she didn't say any of this to my face. She went off to my friend. And then that's what quickly set the pace that more and more, like, she would just do crazy things to sabotage like us hanging out, like even though like, and then like I said, I prefaced this with they are in an open, like so open that he had me over for dinner, like she had a conversation with me. I met her boyfriend. Come on, like, but she ended up pulling the whole possession card over my friend because apparently what had gone on is that, right, like she had been hopelessly in love with him the whole entire time, like the 30 years they knew each other or whatever. She was hopelessly in love with him. She comes from not one but two backgrounds that culturally believe if you want to get your man, you need to put some bruja on him. And I personally, like, I don't want to have to put a spell on you to get you to love me, kind of thing. So it's like more about ego and pride. Like, I'm not gonna trick you into loving me. But at this point, this woman didn't care. She didn't care. She wanted she wanted my friend. She was like so in love. She was just like blinded. And that's what I use the term love loosely because a lot of times people call some kind of toxic attachment love. Like even I have to acknowledge, like I got a toxic attachment to you know, my only little love person, and I felt like, you know, because I had all this love for him, that he owed me something. So this is kind of like that on steroids that she had been doing for this guy. Like when he fell from grace for some stuff in his life, you know, she couldn't wait to be there to take care of him and stuff, which really was just an excuse to be up his butt. Like, you know, just now he couldn't go anywhere, like, because he got sick at one point, like, it kind of incapacitated, and she was just like in heaven because he was confined to that space. And I'm just not big on them kind of like hostage situations. So you know, it turned out she was deflecting. You know, I'm not the witch, she was. You know, she was the one doing a bunch of voodoo and witchcraft and all kinds of crazy stuff to make not just not just my friend, but her man, like, she was trying to kind of like keep them at either side, basically. You know, so even though she would like to get my friend to stay, she would say, oh, I know, we're just, you know, it's just companions and all this kind of stuff. But now, like, then when she saw him starting to get all chummy with me, she's like, well, you promised that when we go old together, we're gonna, you know, grow old in the house, and that you will stay with me, and you promised, and that was the promise that we made long ago, and blah 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 blah. Basically, like, no way out. Again, hostage situation. Like, if you gotta guilt somebody to spend time with you, why do you want to spend time with them? But she was so invested in this man, like obsessed with him. And you know, so she started doing petty things like breaking his phone. She broke his car key, like $300 car key. You know, it's like the new special one. So right, broke his car key like it wasn't nothing. Like, and then he was in denial about being a sugar baby. Like, she was kind of just being the main source of income, and he was kind of just he had, like, I guess he had like a 401k or something, but he didn't have to, basically, like, he didn't want to spend any money if he didn't have to. And she said, yeah, don't worry, baby, I'll take care of everything until, you know, you feel like you're ready to retire. Because, right, she feel like, yeah, because when you retire, you're going to sit here by my side and be my man like you promised 30 years ago. You know, like, psycho stuff. Like, why would you even, I don't even want to understand that, honestly. Like, I got it bad one time for one guy. That was enough. Like, I'm almost glad, because I'm like, you know what, if I hadn't, like, grown up and I was still acting crazy, we might have ended up like this couple where I'm just saying anything to get him to marry me, and, like, including that it's an open business marriage, go out and get a boyfriend, but I'm still acting crazy towards him, crazy and possessive. It's like, I just did, when I look back on it, it's like that situation was making her so crazy that she was just like gone, mentally gone. So she had her boyfriend, and then he would come over to the house, and then he was trying to move in. So now she got not one but two grown men fighting with each other because she lied to both of them to get them to fight over her. Like, did I say she was in her 60s? You know, right. So me and my friend will hang out sometimes. She'll be constantly coming out to check to see if I'm there. And the couple times that's how I know she did it, because a couple times I was waiting in the truck or whatever. Like, he might have to stop home or whatever like that and get something. But I would wait in the truck because right by then it was clear that she was, you know, not okay with him even having a friend. And we would laugh because we knew, like I didn't want to F with him sexually because he was a hoe, right? Like, he's kind of a hoe. So and like in the not good way, you know. So I'm like, you can have him, he don't even love you, like, you can have him. I'm not fighting, he's my friend, but I'm not fighting with you to marry him instead. Like, I wouldn't want him. Look at you, you're a mess. He is draining you dry, girl. Like, please. But right, then I found out later that she was the primary source of income. We're talking about one bank card between the three of them, because don't forget, she taking care of her boyfriend, who's also just like some wannabe kept washed up Nate Dogg looking dude. No shade if you know, I'm not knocking Nate Dogg, I'm saying this looks like one of them washed up wannabe types, you know. So, and I'm throwing shade on him because he was incredibly rude, and just, you know, like, there was other stuff with him that was like, ugh, you know. But anyway, right, so she dealing with that one, and then she trying to force this one to be in her life. So she, you know, she knows that my friend don't really love her, so she can't let go of her other thing because he's paying attention to her. He acts possessive over her. He's smacking her around. And that's kind of low-key what she wants. Because for whatever reason, she interpreted that she's supposed to have a daddy and, you know, kind of somebody who's acting possessive over her. And, you know, she gets to be like a cute little girl. She's in her 60s, but whatever. And again, she running the show. Like, that's the best part. So, like, as independent as she is, she got some kind of, you know, daddy's girl complex, which, you know, I can't be mad at you if you're into that. I'm not trying to sound hateful towards, like, a fetish. I'm just saying that, like, when it's just crazy what people do to try to make it look natural, I guess. Like, oh, no, he's like, I'm not allowed to go to the store on my own because, you know, my boyfriend's worried that I'm going to, you know, find somebody else. Like, they like that, you know, even to the point where somebody threatening to smack them around, they're like feeling like that's a good thing, you know, whatever. That's your stuff to work through, I guess. Like, who am I to judge? So anyway, so she had, right, like this reckless possessive guy, because he wanted their house. Like, he wanted the house and the money. And then so she's feeding it to him on his side that, oh, I would give you more, like, because he was like not shy about hitting her up for money and stuff, you know. He would be like aggressive, you know, like on, I guess, like a reckless pimp. Like, I know some people act like pimping is cool and that, you know, it's just some kind of weird culture with that, but he was like a bad pimp, maybe, I don't know. But right, like, he would get threatening like that, and she low-key really was in over her head with him acting crazy, because I don't think she really dealt with too many like hood people like that, because she, you know, she came from like a little farm town out on the West Coast, but like I said, she had two kind of crazy cultural backgrounds that, you know, just both believe in voodoo and stuff like that, and she was like really going hard in the paint over that witchery stuff. So anyway, so right, she's rooting these two men, and they're acting crazy because everybody's like believing in it and whatever. So they're both acting crazy and fighting with each other and stuff. And she is like V for Vendetta with me. One time I was hanging out with my friend, and I guess like she came home and was acting crazy, and she like tried to physically attack me. I did not do anything because like they pulled her off of me. Like it didn't hurt me or anything. I was sitting up actually on the edge of the bed like this, and she kind of came in and was like in front of me here and was like, "You B, you're a witch. You know, I know you're a witch, and I want you out of my house. I'm gonna call the police." And she like this kind of stuff, and I was like, and before I could really react, her boyfriend came and like grabbed her up and pulled her out of the room. So, you know, I don't get anything about beating some 65-year-old rotting away woman, you know, down. Like one boot to her neck and she'd have been killed. So it definitely wasn't going to be worth all that. And I know she would do some shady stuff like provoke you to hit her or hit you first like she did. But if I would have struck back, she would have called the police because she was just that crazy. So right, like, anyway, why was I telling you all that? Like, okay, so this lady's like hexing me. She's coming out. If she know he would pull up to get something and I'd be in the Jeep, she'll come running out in her house dress looking all crazy, screaming at me like, "You're gonna die. You're gonna die. I'm gonna do something. I'm gonna do something. You're gonna die." She's doing all this like Hexed kind of stuff, and I'm just looking at her from the car like, oh man, like this is sad. Like, this is so sad. But right, like he would come running around like, "Hey, you know, stop this, stop, you're being loud in front of the house." Like, we're funny. You guys are the ones who live in this fancy little gated HOA. I'm not literally not doing anything. I'm sitting in the Jeep, you know, waiting for him to finish whatever he's doing. So I'm literally like not even reacting. All I'm doing is kind of staring at her out of the window, I guess, kind of like a demon. And I was just staring at her, and I didn't even shake my head or anything, or like I was trying not to laugh, but she's like losing it on her front lawn. Like, she can't stand the sight of me. She'll go crazy. So and again, it was so crazy because we were not it's not like when we hung out, he was like, yeah, I can't wait to be done with her and then we can run away to Mexico. Like, it wasn't like that. We were more um like, okay, remember the vintage movie Bonnie and Clyde? Like, remember how that movie was, like, kind of that rapport? It was almost exactly like that, because he had more life experience and I admired that. Like, he knew how to navigate the streets and I didn't feel like worried, but he was still a trickster, like every man for himself. Like, there were so many times he like left me in a bad situation, you know, when he would promise to do one thing and then not show up, and it would have like bad consequences and stuff like that. So it's not like he was like a good guy. Mostly he was a villain, but again, like, I was bringing out his Buddha nature and we were connecting on that level. So we had so many good times. We could talk. We would sit in the truck and talk, just talking for hours. But I mean, I don't necessarily agree, but I can understand why this would burn so many wives' biscuits, because again, this quality time, that's what they're vying for. And that's the one thing most men don't want to give them, especially the more thirsty you act for the time. And then you doing little stupid shite to force them to spend time with you, and that makes it even more lame. And that's not gender exclusive. That's anybody acting a fool. So anyway, so right, longer story short, this woman like would like try to call my phone or like try to look me up on social media, but you know, she couldn't spell my name, thank goodness. Nobody can. So right, like, it was just a mess, and that was when I finally realized that regardless of what the situation might even legitimately be, like an open relationship. Like, it was clear. I met her, you know, we had dinner together. She had a boyfriend. It didn't matter in the end. It didn't stop her from trying to hex me or, you know, lie on me or get her boyfriend to like track me down, or like try to hurt some, you know, do some damage somehow. You know, it didn't stop her from doing little petty childish things to keep him from being able to go out and, you know, go out at night and stuff. Like, it didn't, even though they were both agreed it was an open relationship, it didn't seem to matter. So I attribute it to karma, because again, like, there were times that I didn't feel like there were any consequences to dealing with married guys, you know, in any capacity. I didn't feel like the consequences were I didn't feel like the hurt was that serious, when it really wasn't for me to judge and or gauge, you know, whether or not this, like, how hurt, oh, like, she'll get over it, or like it's not even that serious, or, well, you know, actually, like, he's gonna cheat, he's obviously a cheater anyway, so why do I feel bad? It's not my fault. You know, I wasn't taking responsibility. Like, however like the actual balance of wrong is, I wasn't taking responsibility for my side of it. So that was when I finally decided, like, even like, here, this was like, the comeuppance is real. Here, this was technically a free and clear situation. They both acknowledged being in an open relationship, and I still had to deal with her attempting to bring some kind of bruja hell on top of my head, which, you know, of course, right, yes, I do have some kind of mystical background, and, you know, I've seen some crazy stuff, and she smelled it on me. But I wasn't trying to have no war, the witch wars with her. Like, I wasn't even, you know, but it didn't stop her from trying to bring the noise. She was like, you know, trying to hex and send her spirit guides, and she would threaten me with all kinds of crazy stuff. And I would I mean, to some extent it is like, you have to also believe in it, but based on, you know, the level of spirituality that I've experienced in this lifetime, right, you know, I mean, well, I probably sound like a kook to you, but I would see her attempts, you know, like, things would happen, or, you know, some kind of weird visions, and or I would see stuff, because that's what I do, see and hear stuff, and that's my gift. So right, like, I would see her attempts, like the dark energy attempting, if you will. I don't know how to explain this without sounding ridiculous. So I guess, you know, maybe you believe, maybe you don't believe it. It's not really relevant. But the point is, like, she really came for me, even though this was technically a free and clear situation. She was coming for me as a karmic dose for all the times it wasn't a free and clear situation, for all the times I didn't respect other people's marriage, regardless of the situation that they were in. And so, right, like, to this day, I still get to pay for it. The only person I ever fell in love with said F it and went out and did whatever he wanted to do. And then the times that I was trying to respect somebody's situation, even though no matter how plain they tried to lay it on the table, it ended up not being that kind of party with like attempted disastrous results. Like, there was so much drama amongst I'll say the three, because that her boyfriend was not going anywhere. He was like, oh no, I'm staying right here because there's no way, like, arguing with my friend, he said, there's no way you're getting all the money and the house, you know, when she finally dies. Like real talk, like, this is how they would argue. And like, she had no control. Like, this person was dangerous. Her boyfriend was dangerous, and she would use him to bait my friend, because my friend cared about her. Like, he didn't want her to get hurt. He felt sorry for her, honestly. And so he knew, like, I guess maybe you could say he saw her heart, but he also saw the benefits he was getting from her. Like, she just wanted to love him. He thought he could fake the love to her in order to get the benefits, i.e. her bank account, the house, the car. You know, he don't have to worry about anything. All he got to do is, like, sprinkle some quality time on her head, and she's, like, starstruck for a few hours, and that's when he go out and run the street. So it's like, he just, like, he was never romantically in love with her. And I won't lie, I couldn't help but look at my own situation. Like, maybe if we had decided to stay together, who knows? Maybe we would have ended up like that. Or, you know, I don't want to end up like that even now. Like, because I said, like, they knew each other for 30 years and kind of did do this kind of come full circle thing, and she trapped him into getting a house. Or that's just the way he explains it. You know, who knows? Like I said, he was an opportunist. She was clingy. So anyway, just know, if you ever feel like some sort of way towards, and I don't know your situation, you know, but if it wasn't like a vindictive cheat, let's say that if you feel like your situation was similar to mine, like as somebody who got cheated on, you know, your husband cheated on you with somebody like me, I don't know, maybe my misery will help you. Like, just know, like, I paid for that. It's not like me and your husband were living happily ever after that. No, I'm still on my own, doing my own thing. Now, I'm not bitter Betty about that. I'm not like, oh, I'm alone, because I'm not one of those people who's like worried about dying alone and stuff. Like, I'm not worried about it. But right, like, just know, I ended up screwing myself over. When I fell in love, I played myself. Even when I try to make it, you know, when I'm friends with somebody who is married, even if it's supposed to be a free and clear situation, bad things still ended up trying to happen, or did happen, or it just made the friendship very, very messy. You know, I didn't need to have, like, even though her magic is not going to have any extended power over me, I didn't need to invite, like, that kind of hatred towards my life. So anyway, those are the stories. We did not stay under an hour. I'm even kind of low-key surprised that I was talking that long. But hopefully it wasn't incredibly long-winded. Sometimes I play other YouTubers like this just to kind of have this ambient noise. Because I'm kind of a loner, and I just got back to Vegas, so I don't really have any friends that can hang out yet. Half the people don't really know I'm back, so... and I have yet to get a car since coming back, so that's kind of why I'm benching it, because I feel like, you know, I don't have a car, and I mean, I guess I could Uber, but I don't know, I just want to be able to feel comfortable, like I'm holding my own, you know, because it's been a while, and you know, I just kind of want to feel like I'm having fun on my terms. So I've kind of been you know, kind of mostly chilling. I haven't really been doing too much. Well, I got to party a lot when I first got back, but in the last few weeks, it's been like super low key. So humble. So anyway, hopefully at least this was like an interesting chat. You know, you guys are my YouTube friends. So thanks very much for tuning in. Hope you had a great, safe primary day, and that if you did plan to vote, that you made it safely to that booth, and that there wasn't any trouble. And please have a great rest of the week. I'm gonna try to make a video every day, but you know, who knows? We'll see. Nam yo harenge kyo.